Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's show. Today we have another local friend from the Venice area. He's got a very interesting business. He's going to introduce himself, his business, what he does, and how he can help you. So thanks for coming down to the studio today.
My pleasure. My name is Craig Rodatius, and I own Brite Design, custom outdoor lighting. And we're located in Nokomis, nearby here, Venice. And we service the Sarasota, along the Gulf Coast, Lakewood Ranch areas, and then south to the Punta Gorda area as well. But basically, we'll go wherever the projects take us. We do high-end custom outdoor lighting, and that's our specialty, and focus mainly on the larger estates. But we'll do any project that captures our interest, and the client has a good appreciation for lighting design.
That sounds good. Now let's talk about lighting. Now I don't know what triggers you in your head when you hear the word lighting. I'm not sure if you're thinking like the Christmas lights. Are we just thinking like a pool lanai style lights? Tell us a couple of examples of the type of lighting you do, and what your favorite type of lighting to install is.
We primarily do architectural lighting, which is the uplighting onto the front of the home or estate or small business. And then we'll get into the landscape surrounding the home and structures, for instance, water features, walkways, and such. We'll also do lanai lighting, and then waterfront lighting. Holiday lighting, I've done in the past up north, but down here we're pretty much focusing on the landscape and architectural lighting.
I hear you said landscape. So is this something a landscape, or you consider yourself like a landscaper that does the lighting, or is this something completely different? If you want to tell us the difference between you and a landscaper.
Well, anyone could put lights in the ground and aim them up, but what we do is specialize. And for instance, I have 30 years of experience in strictly outdoor lighting. So when working on a design, we put together a nice, well-balanced design where we're using the different photometrics, meaning the different lamps, different bulbs in the fixtures, just to get the right effect. Whereas, for instance, a landscaper, their lighting person may take a week or two course from the supplier, and then all of a sudden they're landscape lighting experts. So I guess one way to put it, Mike, is you wouldn't want us to install a retaining wall, and that's my general feeling on landscapers and installing outdoor lighting.
So 30 years, that's a long time. So what made you start in lighting? Was it a good Christmas tree experience in doing the house, and you just went from there?
Well, I'm from South Bend, Indiana, and that's in northern Indiana and basically on the Michigan state line. And being off of Lake Michigan, we have a lot of cloud effects. So winters are long, winters are dark, and they have what they call seasonal affective disorder, SAD, which many of you may be aware of. And that is how it affects your mood from long, cloudy, long periods without sunshine. So they have light boxes, which got my interest. And so I started to explore that and learn more about that, and how what became apparent is how light can change your mood and control the mood of the atmosphere, as well as yourself, as well as your well-being. And so in studying that, it just naturally took me toward outdoor lighting. And so when I talk to a client, I listen to what kind of mood they're looking for, be it the landscape, be it the front of the curb appeal for their home, whether they want it to jump out at you or just be nice and subtle. So we take all that into account.
That sounds good. So if in 30 years, I know of old school, let's say those giant glass bulbs that were in the ground that got really hot versus today, it's just literally a strip of plastic. Can you go over maybe the history of what kind of lighting is and what kind of we're using today? Is it the new style LED that can be controlled by a phone?
Yes. In terms of controls, you can control it by your phone. You can control it. We can put timers at the transformer location. astronomic timers that you don't even have to adjust now. That they know when the sun rises, they know daylight savings time,
Oh wow.
et cetera, et cetera. Or we can hook it into your Lutron system if you have a smart home. So, and in terms of the lamps, when I started, they had halogen lamps, which would get real hot, and they would use a lot more energy. Now with the LED, your uplights may use 5 watts of power, and your walkway lights maybe 2 to 5 watts. And so it's literally pennies on a dollar when you have your nighttime lighting on, as opposed to your big floodlights. And also, how many times do you see homes that they have their garage lights and floodlights on
Right.
the next day because
forget about it.
they forget to turn them off? And so this way you can have your low voltage lights on every night, bringing curb appeal, beauty, safety, and such to your home, and then not worry about them being off the next morning. And for, again, pennies on the dollar. So things have really come a long way in low voltage lighting, and that's a direction that all your higher end homes and larger estates are going now, is with the low voltage, as well as small commercial.
Now the new style LED. Now I know this for regular people like myself. I get the plastic light bulbs. Are they also commercially plastic, or are they glass now?
No, they're glass. I wouldn't. Now, are you talking about the fixtures or the bulbs?
The bulbs. I know sometimes we can go to, like I say, a Home Depot or a Walmart, and you get the quote unquote the LED lights, and it's like a plastic light bulb, and it says lasts for about 10 years.
Right, and
It's
they
not-
often don't.
Yeah, it's good for a
those
night light.
locations.
So I know that's not professional. I was just wondering if
Right.
there's a professional version of those plastic style or polymer lights, or are the LEDs more like the baseball stadium where it's glass and super bright? Is that
No, they're and like everything, they have different quality levels, but they're primarily the bulb itself is glass, and then they have a refractor, which determines the beam. And so, for instance, when I'm doing a design, we'll use a different refractors. For instance, if you're doing a flagpole, you'll use maybe a 12-degree lamp, and then if you're washing the front of a home, maybe a 60-degree lamp in some areas. And then we're able to use the different strengths, whether we want to go high with the beam or lower with the beam. So it's basically, I look at it as using different paint brushes when I'm putting together a design.
I want to speak about design. Do you have a favorite design? Is there shapes on the house, or are you doing just really like you see on those beautiful magazines where it's just perfect triangles and perfect rectangles lighting?
Well, I look at the architectural features, and that's what we try to highlight when doing the front of a home or an estate. And so generally we make the entrance, general rule is you have the entrance as the focal point, and then you work out from the entrance to depending on how big you want your canvas to be in the lighting. So we'll try to frame in the corners of the home, and generally there's nice architectural brick or features on the edges of the home. And then from there we'll work out into landscape. Now that's not always true. Some people just want to highlight their landscape and less on the home. But that's the general way I approach a design.
I want to talk about, we're in Florida, so obviously there's hurricane and some heavy rains. What's the chances of anything getting damaged? And if it is damaged, how do we repair that?
Well, the fixtures we use are primarily solid brass. And so they've been proven in the weather here, and now anything under 2 feet of water is obviously going to be damaged and have problems. But I would say, at the most part, if they survive the initial water and it's not too much water, that the fixtures can easily be replaced, being low voltage. And the low voltage wire, unlike the line wire, does not have to be buried deep. So parts of the system can be replaced rather easily.
All right. So speaking of being replaced, what is the lifespan on a typical job? How many years can we expect the lighting to work?
Gosh, I'm servicing clients I've had for 25 years, and still the same light fixtures, same transformers. Now, occasionally the lamps or the bulbs you'll have to change maybe every 8 to 10 years, but
Nice.
they have in general a 50,000 hour lifespan. So, and you do the math, that's a pretty long time.
Yeah, I grew up in the Italian neighborhood where everybody had the grottos and the fountains, and they were changing those things every couple of years with
Right.
those red Las Vegas style. Do you do
Well,
anything like that with fountains or any kind of if they have a waterfall outside?
absolutely. After doing this for 30 years, I've pretty much lit up or illuminated everything you can imagine. So water features are a big part of our of what I've done. Fountains, any architectural structure, be it a fountain, be it a gazebo. We've done it all, and again, we take special look for special detail and take pride in our work. And so when we start a project, we're there from beginning to end, and very hands-on, and we make sure the client is happy at the end. We'll after getting a sense of what the client wants, and then we get to work and make it come to fruition. Afterwards, we'll walk through it with the client, and generally they're very happy. But occasionally, if we have to make an adjustment here or there, we're happy to do that.
I'm glad you actually brought up the being in full project. So I just say, I think I want lighting. What is the procedure? I know I have to call you first. Do we sit down in my house in a computer, or do you have to actually do a field assessment? So how does the planning work? Most of the time I think in my head it's going to be on some kind of iPad and I'm going to draw something, or is it where it's going on pad and paper? How does this work?
Well, initially, we'll have a phone conversation. I'll get an idea of what you're looking for, be it architectural lighting, landscape lighting, lanai and pool cage lighting, waterfront lighting. And from there, we'll talk a little bit about your project. And if we decide we're the best service for you, at that point, we'll set up a time to come out to your home, and I'll walk through things with you, and I'll walk through the home, the grounds, or the estate with you. And at that point, if we have continued interest in the project, mutual interest, then I'll put together a conceptual design, and then we move forward from there.
Okay, so it sounds like you're almost those reality TV shows, like you're doing that kind of style, where it's going to be amazing when they're done. Is it a big transformation, or is it
Oh, it's
the
a,
big surprise? Do you do a big reveal? It's like say, hey,
it's a,
here, you shut everything off and make them come at night, and then do you do that? I would love. If I'm doing the service, I would love to just have the blindfold on, like press the button, and everything just lights up. So how do you show them their lighting?
Well, it's similar to that because we do all of our adjustments at night, whether it's down lighting from trees. We'll have guys in the trees making sure it's just right. We don't just put lights in the ground and aim them up. So we'll do our final adjustments at nighttime, and I ask the homeowner to stay inside until we get the adjustments done. And sometimes it might not be until 11 or 12 at night.
Oh wow!
And but usually it's a little before that, whether they're not in bed yet, and they'll come out, and just seeing the expression on their faces and the wow factor, that's what makes it very rewarding
That's
to
gonna be
me.
fun.
And so it does have that certain kind of surprise element, and again, very rewarding.
All right, sounds great. Is there anything that conflicts with that? Is there any kind of safety lighting, or even say maybe people like to decorate for the holidays? Does that conflict with what you do, or can you supplement something if you plan it out?
It usually highlights. They usually complement each other. For instance, if it's done right, you have the beautiful landscape lighting that's on all the time because of your controls or however we have it set. And let's say you're having a party or guests over, and you want to put on the other line voltage lights on your home, for instance, your entrance lights or your garage lights and such. Ideally, it'll just then complement the landscape lighting, so they're not fighting each other. And on that note, one thing we also take a lot of pride in and make sure doesn't happen is what they call light pollution, where I don't know if you've seen some installs or where the neighbors just has one of the lights shining directly at their window, or out toward the street, which takes away from the whole curb appeal. So we look at that, as well as when I'm out doing the initial assessment. I'll look at the ambient light. Is there ambient light around, street lights, etc., that's going to affect the way that, or the lamps that we use, or strengths of the lamps we use. So we work hard to make sure it complements each other and is very comfortable to the eye.
Okay, good. I'm going to ask you, can you tell me about your favorite house and why you liked it the most and where that was?
Boy, that's a tough one. Over the years,
Like, who's your favorite kid, kind of thing, right?
right. I would say most recently it was a large estate, a Chicago client, and a lot of the work we did was along Lake Michigan, southwest shores of Lake Michigan, where we would have a lot of prominent Chicago folks come and build their summer estates on the lake. And one recently, most particularly, took us. It was a 2-year project, and just turned out beautiful. It was an old French chateau type home, and we just highlighted the features, and the landscape was enormous and beautiful. And so when you have good areas to work on, it just enhances the end beauty, and so I would say that would probably be my favorite one.
Okay, great. And if you had an ideal client, who would it be? You have a specific area or a type of couple you like to work with, or maybe it's a single?
Again, that's a hard one, like choosing your favorite child. But I would say the client we prefer is one that can appreciate good lighting and design versus just lighting shining onto their home or up into a tree or what have you. For instance, you'll have people and landscapers are pretty known for this, where they'll come out and they'll set up 3 or 4 lights and aim them into a tree or up onto the corner of the house, and you're going to say, wow, of course any light looks better than not. So what we do is we take encompass the whole design, the whole canvas, which you cannot do with just 2 or 3 lights. So the client that understands the difference between that and then what we do, the personal service we provide, I guess that somewhat summarizes the type of person we seek.
So it looks like you're going to have those Instagram-ready houses when you're done. So it's really exciting for everybody and all your social media friends.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Okay, before we end our show, do you want to give us one piece of genius, or at least a piece of advice we can do for our own home?
I would say call a professional if you want your lighting to look good. Now, you're going to have, for instance, I've done designs where you might have Uncle Bob or someone that says, oh, I can do that. And that's fine. And you're still going to see a nice marketable difference between no lights and just having some lights put in the ground. And one thing, once you do have lighting on the front of your house or through your landscape, it's amazing where the minute they don't work for whatever reason, you hear from people because they get used to it. They love the lighting. So I encourage, however, whatever your budget is or what have you, to explore the outdoor lighting and just play with it, and I think you'll be happy with the results, and more so if you call a professional that's been doing it for years and well established.
It looks like you have fun doing it. Like you actually enjoy your work.
Oh, I enjoy it. It's been a passion of mine, again, for almost 30 years. And so I live, breathe, and sleep the projects that I'm working on. And again, very detail oriented, and develop great relationships with clients. Again, I have clients that are almost like family members I've had for over 25 years.
Oh.
And so my passion is very strong.
Do you have an artist background at all?
No, to be honest with you, my background was in business. And but I have innate artistic ability that the office would not bring out in me. So
I'm glad you're having fun. It's good to see people
Yes.
in their passion. So tell us again your full company name, the phone number, website, how everyone's going to get in touch with you this season.
again, my name is Craig Rudacious, and the company is Brightside Design, Custom Outdoor Lighting, and Brite is Brite. Our website is brightside.design.com, and our phone number is 941 777 3374. And I hope to hear from you. It costs nothing for a consultation, and hopefully we're what you're looking for in terms of getting beautiful outdoor lighting at your place.
Okay, appreciate you being on the show today.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. It's
Make
been
sure
a pleasure.
you get the lights looked at.